so it looks a little more.
We're on.
We are.
We're live.
Everybody. I would like to call this meeting to order. Good. Start with a roll call, please.
Mr. Case,
Here.
Mr. McKenna, Mr. Spadaro,
Here.
Oh, we're not. Sorry.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Here.
Ms. Brockway,
Here.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Here.
Mr. Dice,
Here.
Mayor Sinan.
Here. Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, everyone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. Morrison, do we have any unlisted amendments?
Yes, Mr. President, we will not have an executive session this evening.
Okay. Executive session is off the list.
Mac?
You say
No executive session.
And that brings us to our consent calendar items, which is only the August 18th minutes. Are there any questions or concerns about the minutes?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, could I have a motion, please?
To make a motion to approve the consent calendar items? Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I would just note that I'm abstaining from any payments, or excuse me, we're not voting on that. Comments by Mayor Sinan. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Dice. Oh, when they're up.
There we go.
Yeah, there we are. Doesn't work on my screen for some reason. The glass recycling pop-up collection event will be Saturday, September 18th at the Veterans Field parking lot, 4200 Sardis Road, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Residents are encouraged to support the Loaves and Fishes Emergency Food Pantry by donating non-perishable food items. Food pantry volunteers will be at the pavilion accepting drive-through donations during those hours. It's sponsored by the municipality and Republic Services. Next, we had some bad news. We had something went wrong at the splash pad, and the parts are on back order, so the splash pad will be indefinitely closed for repairs. We were hoping to keep it open until around the middle of September, but that's not going to happen. The zip line at the large playground by the splash pad will also be closed until a new seat has been delivered. Somebody broke the seat. So we apologize for the inconvenience, but we'll get the zip line going as fast as we can. The American Legion 7-Eleven of Murrysville will be rededicating the Brant Hoover Memorial to all veterans and first responders on Saturday, September 11th at 8 a.m. The community is encouraged to attend and recognize the lives that were lost on 9/11 and the veterans and first responders who served since 9/11. I also might note on that day on 9/11 at 1 p.m., the Italian Club is having a similar recognition for veterans and first responders, and that will be at the new Memorial and Export at 1 o'clock, and the residents of Murrysville, Export, and Delmont are invited to that. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mayor. That brings us to comments by the Chief Administrator. Jim?
Yes, thank you. I met with representatives from Windstream to begin exploring the expansion of broadband within the municipality. In addition, hopefully early next month, I'll be participating with a working group taking a look at broadband expansion throughout Westmoreland County. So we're making progress there. And finally, the Titan well is starting. This week they're mobilizing and staging equipment, and then they'll be clearing timber probably the week of the September 7th, and beginning the week of September 14th, they'll be installing the ENS, and pad work will begin immediately after that. That's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Jim. That brings us to community input, where people can say whatever they like as long as it's 3 minutes or less. We have one person sign up tonight. It's Matthew Auberman. And please just say your name and address for the minutes.
My name is Matthew Ockman. I live at 4211 Bulltown Road, and I'm just here today in response to Governor Wolf's command of mandating masks across the schools and child care centers. And I'm just asking the council to look into it and, in fact, do our, how do I want to say this? Do what we can to prevent mask mandates being implemented to the children across the community. Studies continue to show that mask mandates do not reduce the spread of COVID. University of Louisville just had a study that just indicated that as well. It is not healthy for the children to have masks for various reasons. So I'm asking that we as a community do what we can to do what's right for the children and disobey the orders of the governor. He's had plenty of orders that have been detrimental to the state of Pennsylvania that I bet we wish we would have disobeyed him then too. So this is something where I think we need to as well. On another subject, something a little bit different than what I normally talk to you guys about, seeing a bunch of different projects in terms of road construction and things like that. I would just like to suggest perhaps looking into using roundabouts at certain intersections. When I was stationed in Fort Riley, they had a lot of roundabouts there, and it was pretty interesting. You know, it's different than what you normally see in America. Usually that's in Europe, but they tend to be more effective in terms of traffic throughput, and studies show that they're also more safe. And that was just something I want to bring up to the council. Outside of that, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have?
Yeah, we have. I think we have looked at roundabouts. I think one of the biggest challenges with the established community in a few different intersections was space. They take up a massive amount of space compared to a standard intersection. Well, not a you know, again, they've been proven to be efficient, but that's always the challenge in front of us, is you have to start cutting into people's property, and that's not always a good thing.
I think there's also a lot of senior drivers. You know, so.
What's that mean?
Right.
Okay, for the good of the order, is there anyone who didn't sign up who would like to give public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to liaison comments and committee reports. Let's start down this end. Tony?
I was away for last week's Medic One meeting.
Okay. Carl?
The Parks Foundation will meet later this month, and planning will meet later this month as well.
Okay. Lauren?
And I don't know if I mentioned this, that wasn't at the last meeting. August EAC meeting was canceled, and there will be a September meeting coming up here in the near future.
Awesome. Jamie?
Nothing new to report.
Tony?
Library board meets later this month also.
Matt?
Same next week.
Okay, same for FTMSA. All right, that brings us to our workshop items, with the first being a discussion concerning proposed changes to the municipality short-term disability policy requirements. Jim?
Yes, we had, for some time, have been required by the personnel policy that if an employee goes on short-term disability, that the employee provide the check to the municipality, and then we compensate them for the difference with the sick leave. It works out over a period of time. Well, the current carrier of our short-term disability policy only provides what's termed administrative services only. So when they issue a short-term disability check, they also issue a W-2 at the end of the year. Well, the municipality is also issuing a W-2 essentially for the wages that are received. So there's a duplication on the part of the employee. We've begun an investigation to find if there is other short-term disability carriers that aren't administrative service only, and come back to council at that time to discuss whether to change the policy or to keep it the same and go with a different provider. So at this point in time, we have not gotten all the quotes back, so we're not prepared to make a recommendation to council, but we wanted to bring this to the attention of council at this point in time.
Okay. Definitely sounds like a needless redundancy. Are there any questions or concerns from council at this point? Okay, well, we'll keep running that one down. That brings us to our next item under community development, and it is a discussion concerning SP-4-21 MAGAM Investments, a major land development consisting of a mixed-use building of 8 apartments and retail space on Kistler Road and Route 22. And who here is to, there we go. And just make sure you speak into the microphone.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name's Chris Ham with KDH Consulting Engineers. We are the engineer on this site, along with Mike Garofalo, who is the developer. This project has been, say, floating through the municipality for a couple years now. We actually had the property rezoned at one point in time from business down to mixed use, and that is what it currently sits at. And like as you mentioned, what we envision is retail on the bottom and 8 2-bedroom apartments across the top. We responded to the last round of comments, I believe submitted the plans last week. We have not received a letter, but still well within, I think, the time frame that the municipality has to review the letter. One of the biggest discussions last week was the garage, which I think we ironed out what that meant. And the remaining comments were mostly housekeeping, I think. There was no major design, nothing really changed. One modification we were requesting was to go from a 10-foot buffer in the front of the property to a 9-foot.
If I may, Chris, for council's reference, this is the property. It's at the intersection of Kistler Road and Route 22. It was a fill site for the construction of Route 22.
Yeah. The loan modification is along here. And basically, at that point, the right-of-way from our right-of-way line to Route 22, I believe the closest point's roughly 35 feet. So between us and the roadway, we have 35 feet of additional green space. We're just asking for a 1-foot buffer. Mostly so we stay off the hill in the back. There'll be very minimal grading on the site. Basically what's flat there now is what's going to be used at the end of the day.
Maybe you can go through your site plan, Chris, and outline what you're proposing there.
Yeah, like we mentioned, it is a roughly a 5,800 square foot total footprint of the building. Looking at more of a retail slash, I don't want to say office space, but it's not a high turnover retail. It would be more, we call it a destination retail. Someone's going there for a purpose, not to buy. They're not going down the street and looking over, seeing, oh, there's a Dollar General, I got to stop and get milk. So just due to the location of it, it's not set up for high traffic flow. The stormwater pond would be on the back side of the site. Once again, still up on the hill, staying on the flat, mostly because once you get off the flat, you get into fairly steep slopes that we don't want to get involved with. Geotech has been performed on the site. It is stable. We do have to use, I believe, some caissons for some of the footers just to ensure the safety of the building. The apartments will actually be accessed from the rear of the site, with the majority of the parking along the backside, with staircases leading up to the apartments. There will be a small storage area on the first floor inside the main building for the apartments. They're all 2-bedroom with skylights throughout each unit, with obviously just windows in the front and the back on all except maybe the side ones. At this time,
Elevations of the building?
Basically, the entire peak roof in the front is more of a facade. It's a fake parapet, mostly to hide the mechanical equipment for the top of the building. The building itself will have a flat roof, but it will give the appearance of a peaked roof from the roadway.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Questions or concerns from council?
Just a really silly question, but is the name of it because of the road there? Would there be a T in it?
You know what? Yeah, it is Kistler Place. We've had these for a while, and I don't know if either one of us ever noticed the.
I don't think, yeah, we noticed it, but yeah, it's supposed to have
It's my former English teacher that kind of sneaks out sometimes.
Yeah, in the, if you look across the front, at this time, we're showing, I believe, 4 retail spaces across, but the way it will be built is, like a typical, I don't want to say a typical strip mall on the bottom, but it will be a clear span front to back. So if somebody does want to take 2 or 3, or I don't know, maybe even the whole thing, you'll be able to accommodate relatively easy. There will be no interior structure walls throughout the bottom.
You have is the rear elevation on there? It's just maybe where it was zoomed into.
Yeah, it's on the bottom side of the page.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, these will be the apartment doors leading to the upstairs, and these will be the doors leading into the retail part on the bottom.
Well, maybe it's premature for this question, but do you have any idea what the rental fees are going to be on the apartments?
I mean, not at this time, probably a range, between 12 and 1400, depending on, what the market bears.
For 2-bedroom?
Yeah, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. They're going to be finished towards the higher end, like with granite and stainless steel and things along that nature. So, and then the addition of parking would increase the rental fee. Initially, or the covered parking, I should say. Initially, we weren't planning on offering that. Thought it'd be a little bit more difficult to manage, making sure it's clear. But now we have a design set up for it that it will be to accommodate the management of it, but it'll also increase the rent to have covered parking. So,
Is the rear view that you show, is it going to have all the HVAC and all that? You're going to be able to see that from the rear? You're not showing a cover like the front on the rear view?
The height of the building, I doubt you'll be able, where they're going to be located at. There will still be somewhat of a parapet at the back of the building, but I doubt you're going to be able to see any of the HVAC unit. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any fire suppression system, sprinkler or standpipe or anything like that in the building?
yes, for this number of units, so the site offers some challenges because there's not a lot of flat working space. So while the foundation will be set on site, the apartments will be modular and be placed, and they are designed to be fire separated, but they do have a connected sprinkler system.
Okay, very good, thank you.
So you're saying with the utilities on the roof, you're saying there is a sloped roof in the back and kind of flat in the middle? That's where those will sit down inside of there?
Basically, the entire top is flat. The front just has basically a facade parapet to make it appear more of a sloped roof in the front.
Right.
The back will have just a straight parapet wall along the back.
Where's the parking for the apartments at on that?
There's the top. Just real quick, if you want to see the top flat roof, because the way it's designed to keep it to code, the bedrooms are on both ends, and I can show that as well. But so to have a appropriate size window, that's why we had to put the bedroom on the both end. But to allow for natural light to be in the kitchen and family room area, each one will have a skylight, except for the end units because they'll be able to have side windows.
Okay. Yeah.
But each unit will have a covered parking spot in the rear of the building.
Okay.
And then there is the overall parking. There will also, some of the parking in the front will account for some of the parking requirements.
So the covered parking space is for the apartment only usage?
Yes.
The rest of it is all for public use during the day or whatever, but they can leave a second car?
Yeah, based upon code, it's required to have one covered parking spot.
Right.
So those are being placed in the back, basically directly across from each door of the apartment.
Kind of up against the retention pond?
Yeah. And there is a sidewalk that accesses on the side of the building from the front to the back on both sides.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, there's not one on the left, there is one on the right. On the left is the drive out.
The driveway, yeah. Okay.
And all your entrances to the apartments is from the rear, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, the only entrances on the front of the building will be for the first floor retail.
They be enclosed steps or?
Yes. Yeah, there'll be enclosed steps leading up through.
Into the apartment?
Yeah.
separate from the commercial space.
Was it decided whether there were carports or garages?
So that was a pretty lengthy discussion. So we're calling it a three-sided garage. And the reason was, because it was brought up earlier, if it is covered, it'll be very difficult to manage. And from experience, those tend to get filled up quickly, and then the parking would trickle over into the commercial space and be tough. But to address the intent of the carport was to make sure there's not stuff laying around. You know, I think that was what we talked about with community development, and this would address that intent and also be more easily managed, because we'll be able to see if something's outside of the lease in terms of being stored. Obviously, they don't, you know, the tenant won't need lawn care, we're taking care of, the snow removal, we're taking care of. You know, there is storage underneath the stairs to accommodate a bike and kind of the main stuff they would need, you know, whatever, Christmas decorations, whatnot. So I'll be curious to see what might show up in that, you know, three-sided garage, but it'll be easier to manage, and there is additional storage to, you know, to do that. So.
And I know one of the other concerns was the 9-foot wide. We were actually able to squeeze the parking, change the dumpster location slightly, and get more of a 10-foot wide space for each car, because the total width of the building, the parking facility is 84 with 8 parking spots. So we lose a little bit on each end for obviously the support walls, and a little bit for the intermediate supports, but we are able to get 10 feet now per car rather than the 9 that was originally shown.
And that will be a slanted roof, and it'll match the facade, obviously, of the mixed-use structure, and the siding will match as well. So.
It's a flat roof, you say?
Slanted, so metal roof, because the plan is to use for this facade. For this facade here, the plan is to use a metal roof, and so it'll be the matching that copper metal roof. You know, that looks like copper.
Would you consider a trussed roof?
Yeah, I don't, you know, it just depends on.
It would be difficult. I think the one item is we'd have to gutter both sides, and I don't know if we want gutters on the front end as well.
Yeah, to get to the storm walk, to get to the pond in the back of where it's located, I think.
Would you take a look at a trussed roof?
Yeah, we could.
I mean, all those items, we'll definitely have to, well, the building permits will have to come back through for all the approvals there as well.
No.
What is the lease policy in regards to the garage on storage? Like, are they permitted?
No.
There's no storage whatsoever. They're not allowed to put anything except a car in there.
Covered parking, but when this was called a carport, but that didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no shelving's allowed, no
Yeah,
anything's
exactly.
allowed.
So
That's in the
why
lease.
That was part of the reason of keeping
Right.
it open.
Yeah.
To
Okay.
manage it better.
Yeah.
Well, I do think the 10 feet, you're saying then the parking space will be
10 feet.
10 feet, which is improvement over the 9, certainly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shifting gears to the front of the building, the commercial side, what is the plan for access of delivery vehicles? Since, you know, usually it's sort of a standard plan like this, you know, it's usually rear of the building, but obviously this is.
That's where we thought, like I said, it's not going to be the conventional. So one of the parts in our community impact statement and some of it is we're not anticipating any high volume delivery vehicles. It's going to be all smaller vehicles, smaller trucks.
Is there?
They do have access in the rear of the building as well, though.
They do have access to get into there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That would be these doors across the back enter the first floor.
I see. Okay. So really, I mean, with even in, you know, you got low volume retail, it seems like usually tend to see at least a 26-foot box truck or smaller, right? But usually people are pulling in with those size trucks. I mean, that's a general statement. However, it seems to be.
Yeah, and they should be able to move. The back side of the building has a full 24-foot aisle width between the building and the the garages, so we feel that they should be able to maneuver, the smaller box trucks should be able to maneuver in and out of there.
We placed the dumpster back there too, right?
Yeah, the dumpster's over in this location, basically, the truck to go a little bit away from the building, keep the garbage truck from having to go back and forth behind it, because that would be one of the heavier vehicles that would probably be the heaviest vehicle, speed being on site.
So to access either, they'd have to turn,
It would probably most
turn
likely
at
go
that,
back in.
yeah, probably back into either the front or rear at
Yes.
that point. Okay, okay.
Our meeting summary indicated that we would possibly discuss sidewalks along Kistler. Is that, did you know?
No, I don't think so.
I thought I saw it. I can't page through it. It's, you know.
I don't remember that discussion, and I don't know where they would go to.
Okay. Okay.
You're saying they would just end at the retention pond, there's nowhere to go down?
No, because the next one, you get more into a residential, and it also gets relatively tight. I don't know if the municipality would ever try to extend sidewalks down through there, how easily it would be done, or just due to grade, it would be a relatively steep sidewalk.
I didn't look on there. Is the entrance to the retail entrance, is that from 22 or from Kistler Road?
Everything, there's one driveway that comes off of Kistler.
Okay.
We have no access off of.
Right, okay.
We did do additional traffic study
Yeah.
too, that was part of the, you know, that was needed, so.
So retail enters in the rear, goes around the back side of the building?
No, they come in, both comes in from the side. Retail would most likely come to the front, and then the apartments would get in the rear.
Yeah.
Bringing to Jim, maybe in case you have some insight here, it looks like KU was responding to the applicant's comment that the loading and unloading spaces were described in the environmental and community impact studies, but that comment is missing or blank. It just says KU response 8/6/2021, and then it's blank. Do you recall what their response to that?
No, I don't, right offhand.
If we could find out, that would be great.
The response concerning,
At section 220-77C, the commercial establishments providing loading and unloading space, and KDH's response was that loading and unloading space was described in the environmental and community impact studies. And there's a space for KU's reply, but it's blank, so I'm figuring they had a response and it maybe got left
They might,
off,
and like I
or-
said, they received all the revised plans last week, so they might not have made it through.
Might have a response to a new response.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
what, the materials for the facades of the building?
First floor would be some type of stone or brick along here. The top would be siding. This is showing an asphalt roof, but it would be, like I said, a commercial metal roof. The back here is showing the same stone facade, but it was to be on the first floor again, and the top is to be vinyl siding.
Is the whole roof metal roof or just the points?
Lighting,
Yeah,
you can
just
ask
the
about lighting.
parapet.
Yeah.
Parapet would be, because it is an angled parapet. It's not
Yeah, they're gonna have street lights there.
hard to kind of see on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, flat roof in the middle, then the parapet.
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Angled metal roof.
Yeah. This portion here is, like I said, appears to be a more of a traditional sloped roof.
Right.
Yeah.
How about lighting? I don't know if it's on here or not, I didn't see it. Are you gonna have any type of lights in the back of the building? Or pole lights or anything like that?
Yeah, a lighting plan has been submitted. I think we meet all the ordinance of it. I think probably at the end of the day, we'll probably end up with maybe some just small wall packs maybe over each residential door. Nothing like parking lot lighting up, but just so they have some light right over top of the door.
No lights in the back for,
There's lights in the back for parking.
okay.
but the whole parking lot is lit in accordance with the township's ordinance based upon an MU use.
What, on that lighting, I'm trying to recall like other buildings that would have that type of three-sided carport. Are those lit at night for someone pulling in there inside the building since it's kind of open? Is that just dark all the time other than the lighting in the parking lot, or is that like a lit inside the three-sided carport?
We do have lights from the back.
Yeah, it would have motion lights probably in the back, and especially if we change the pitch of the roof to match kind of the pitch of the roof of the front of the facade, then there'd be an overhang, and we could put lights underneath there.
Yeah. Okay.
So I could do that with the three-sided garage if that's what we're. I'm trying to think or see the.
I'm just thinking if there's parking lot lights, but if that, you pull into there, it's probably
Yeah,
a little darker
not
inside.
to have motion lights back there would not be disruptive to anybody because the windows would all be above it.
Right, yeah. Yep, okay.
Do you envision the signage in the front, is it going to be lit? Is that the option, or?
Yeah, yes. We're back here. So this is between a 3 and a 4 foot cantilever, and on the front of that cantilever where the posts are, that would be lit signage above there.
Okay. Are there going to be any signs along 22 saying Kistler Place, a quarter mile ahead, or anything like that?
We have one pylon sign shown, but the sign package will come in as a separate.
Yeah, I'll try to show it. The best place to show it is here. It'll be.
Well, we have one shown
Oh
here.
yeah, right there. Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's kind of difficult because the site, the right of way there gets so wide. Like at this point, we're right at the edge of our right of way, but we're probably still 35 feet from the actual cartway on 22.
Right.
And we're probably actually 20 feet, maybe 25 feet from the Kistler right away as well.
We envision boutique, commercial, professional office, so with signage obviously important, 22 is obviously important, but it's not going to be a high traffic commercial, setup the way it is.
Like the Walnut Hollow Plaza, we don't anticipate something like a turnover like that there.
Is there a question going back to what I asked before about the truck access? Even if you think even shrink a truck down, you go copy paper delivery, right? Simple stuff. You still have a nice size van, like a Grumman truck. I'm just looking at a way, and I'd like to see it succeed, but to try to find a way to not have to force a delivery truck to always back around a corner of a retail space or residential. So you're either way, you have people moving in and out. While I don't think there's going to, may not be children playing back there, still activity. Is there any room on between the street and the building? I'm thinking out loud here.
Yeah, the difficult part is maintain your drive width here and the size of the building that we need. It does not leave us enough room to come around the east side of the building.
All right.
Because the tree line is basically the top of the slope.
Yeah.
And then it falls towards the stream.
And I think we were close with our parking to eliminate some of these and put like a roundabout,
Right.
I think it would make it short.
Yeah, we're right on the parking count.
Yeah, I saw that. You're up at 46. Yeah. And same thing on the west side of the building. That's where that curb exists. Is that? Is that close to your
Your
line?
It gets, the reason why we have this curb set up is to get a couple extra parking spots here.
Right.
We'd like to push this whole thing a little bit more and actually do some parking along here, but there's simply not enough room.
There's not space. Okay.
Yeah, but to your point, originally, the thought was like up on this side, on the east side of the structure, but it just, there was no other place to find that parking to meet the requirements.
Right.
Okay, any other questions or concerns about this development right now? Okay, again, it's just a workshop item, we're not voting on anything,
Right.
but it was a good first crack at it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See everybody on the 15th, I believe? Thank you.
Okay, that will do it for our workshop items this evening. That brings us to item 13A under council action items. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of the proposed 2022 and 2026 capital improvements program.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Jim, any overview you want to give us?
Diane apologizes for her absence tonight. She's currently underwater,
Oh, no.
trying to salvage her place there. Now, we reviewed this at the last meeting and proposed the funding sources as part of that presentation. This essentially lays out as a planning tool the anticipated capital expenditures for the next 5 years. If council passes this evening, that'll be used as the document for the budgeting process, which will begin in November.
Okay. Now, council, we had a pretty robust discussion about this at our last meeting. Have any new questions or concerns come to light?
No.
Okay. If there are no questions or concerns from council, there was a motion and a second, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Capital Improvements Program has passed. Thank you. That brings us to 14A. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to consider the approval of the assignment of permits, plans, approvals, easements, and development documents from Patricia Corporation to Fox Lane Homes at Villa Ciano LLC to develop the Bella Ciano planned residential development.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mac and Tony. Jim?
I think we're all familiar with this. This started through the process back in 2009, languished for a period of time, then was reapproved. And since then, another player has become involved in the development of the PRD. And this document assigns the permits and the approvals to that new developer. George has put together a document. If council approves, it'll be requested that Fox Lane or the Patrice Corporation executes, and the developer's prepared to begin on this almost immediately.
Okay.
George, I don't know if you have any additional comments.
The correction would be that the document would be signed by the assignee, Foxwood, not by the assignor, Patrice. And basically what we're looking for, there's going to be an assignment of the land itself plus the rights for the development that have been approved. We want to make sure that the assignee, Foxwood, steps in and assumes all of the terms, conditions, and approval that were there. And that's what we're basically making our approval condition to. I have an outline that I provided to Jim.
Okay,
And Fox Lane has agreed to the conditions that George put forth in that document.
Okay, so just stating the obvious, I mean, this doesn't change anything with council's approvals or anything with that. It's simply letting a new builder come in and develop it as council approved.
That's correct.
Okay, seems pretty clerical. Any questions or concerns?
Our approval would be pending Foxwood's acceptance.
Signing that assumption of all of the obligations that are there.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. That brings us to item 14B. Could I have a motion, please?
Consider a reapproval of S-10-20 Reagan Ridge Villas, R3 zoning, development of 18 villas, Manor Road, tax parcel 4921-000087.
Second.
Okay, Jim, any over?
The council approved the subdivision and site plan. The applicant did not record the approved plan within 90 days, and as a result is seeking reapproval. There were some minor changes to easements within the development, which were considered minor upon review. So the staff has no other issue with reinstatement of the approval.
They still have intent on getting this soon?
Yeah. My name's Ray Gusty from Farragut McCarty Gray. Yes, we're trying to get it started hopefully this month.
Okay.
There's a few items left in the from the developer's agreement that we need to address, but we're getting close. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, this one's pretty clerical. Were there any questions or concerns from council? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, that brings us under engineering, 15A. Can I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to award a contract, DPW-7-21, 2021, chip seal project, in the amount of $68,800.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Jamie and Lauren. Jim?
The original budgeted amount for this project was $65,000. We received bids, a favorable bid for the roads that we had proposed in the bid document of $58,800. Since that time, there was another road that came up that we would like to take advantage of the low pricing, and as a result, awarded in an amount of $68,800. We have funds available in the Capital Reserve Fund to accomplish that.
Okay. Well, if it's a good price, probably a good time to act. Questions or concerns from council?
I take it Peachtree was going to be on the short list after the current list, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, nothing under Public Works. Is there any old business tonight? Hearing none. Any new business tonight?
Does council prepared to make an appointment?
It would seem to me that with that new law, we should just do it next meeting, and that won't even impact him based on when library board meets. So let's just put it on next meeting agenda.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no other ones, executive session was canceled. No outstanding action items. One more motion, please.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.